Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about some notes from day number 1 of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers OTAs. And there's really two big things for me to talk about, in my opinion, and they come from Greg Auman of Fox Sports. Number one is how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers like Jamel Dean, Zion McCollum, and Bryce Hall as their top 3 outside cornerbacks going forward this upcoming season. Now, that is interesting to me because number one, we know about Jamel Dean and, how he's the new number 1 cornerback after the team traded away Carlton Davis. But, this just continues to get confirmation that, yeah, the Bucs really do like Zion McCollum. They didn't really add a significant number 2 cornerback in the offseason. They've added a lot of depth guys here and there through free agency and possibly even the draft as well. But in terms of adding a potential number 2 corner, it really has been pretty much Zion McCollum throughout the entirety of the way, right? And I think that that's going to be the expectation going forward, that McCollum has all the trust in the organization going forward to be this team's number 2 cornerback. And that's just the way it is. But also, Bryce Hall, is he possibly going to push for that number 2 cornerback spot? I don't know. It may be possible. Greg Auman felt the need to throw him into that conversation, right? So you could view him as that third outside cornerback. You could view him as a guy who could legitimately push McCollum for that number 2 cornerback spot. And then that gets into a really interesting conversation, right? Then you get into a legitimate training camp battle. So that's interesting to me. That is a good conversation to analyze and maybe dive deeper into in a separate video. I don't know, but it was an interesting note there. The second thing is talking about the offensive line. Specifically, I want to talk about left guard, because right now Sua Opeta was actually getting first-team reps at left guard, former Philadelphia Eagles guard, and Ben Bredeson, former New York Giants guard, was getting second-team left guard snaps. Another important thing to note here as well, by the way, Robert Hainsey was the team's starting center to open up OTAs. You had Graham Barton, the Buccaneers' recent first-round draft pick, as the backup center. Now, that could 100%, and I think even Greg Auman and outlets like Pewter Report have talked about this, where, that's how it always goes, right, in OTAs and things along those lines, where rookies are backups to the veterans to start off these types of off-season workouts. So I wouldn't expect this to be a permanent thing going forward, but it does lend to the idea that the Bucs, at least right now, still view Robert Hainsey as a center. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, because I have talked a lot here on the channel about how I do want to see what Robert Hainsey could possibly be as a left guard, but it seems like they're still sticking with him at center at this point. I am more interested also about Sua Opeta being the guy at left guard to start. It seems like the Bucs have a lot of faith in Sua Opeta and what he could possibly be for this team, especially over a guy like Ben Bredeson, who was a starting guard throughout the entirety of last year for the New York Giants. Sua Opeta did start in some games and moments here or there, but Bredeson has him in terms of games started in the league. So that's going to be a very legitimate battle. Maybe that'll change on a day-to-day basis. We may see in day number 2. If Sua Opeta is still the starting guard in day number 2, that's a very interesting development in my opinion, and leads a lot to where the Bucs are at least initially leaning in terms of their starting left guard battle, which is very important, by the way. There weren't any other big surprises along the offensive line or really anything going on in practice. It seems like it was, obviously an introductory type of thing. There is obviously the Tristan Wirfs stuff that I'm going to be talking about in a separate video about him not being present at OTA practices right now. But still, it's interesting to see how the offensive line is taking shape. It's interesting to see how the secondary is taking shape, because, those are some very interesting battles to pay attention to going forward. We've talked about left guard a lot. We've talked about Zion McCollum a good bit. We've talked about outside cornerback a good bit as well. So it is very interesting to have those updates. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this down in the comments section below. I would love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. I will have some other stuff coming out about OTAs as, we continue on with the days here, reviewing any notes or things that come out from sources like Greg Auman or Pewter Report or things along those lines, as well as possibly anything else I may notice as well. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.